What's going on, everybody? Marvel the Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. And today, folks, we're looking at Tales to Astonish, issue number 63. This issue came out in January of 1965. And today, folks, we are seeing the first appearance of the leader's Humanoid here that's going to be battling the Hulk here, as well as we see the origin story of the leader. So that's going to be pretty cool here. We've always wondered who the leader was and what he looks like behind his helmet. Well, we're going to see all that today in today's issue as we continue to look through this series. I'm happy that you're here, and go ahead now, before we even get started, give this video a like, and let's go ahead and get started with today's issue. This issue is brought to you by the great Stan Lee, who wrote this issue. We have Steve Ditko on the artwork, Geo Bell also on the inking, and Sam Rosen on the lettering page. And so what a classic lineup here that we got to look forward to. I love Steve Ditko's art. In my personal collection, I have very little of Steve Ditko. His stuff is very expensive, but I do want to collect more Steve Ditko when I can. But that's for later. But for now, let's dive on into today's story. We're going to see an origin story of the leader. He takes off his helmet. So the leader used to be an ordinary laborer. He would work at this little subcellar chemical research plant, picking up things and stuff like that. He's just an ordinary guy. When all of a sudden, a 1 in a million freak accident occurred, as an experimental gamma ray cylinder exploded right in front of him, and he was caught in the midst of it. And when he was in the hospital and he woke up, he noticed that he had a hunger for books, for reading, and he really wanted to become more smart. He wanted to feed his brain with knowledge for some reason. I mean, he literally read every book in the library. And then 1 second, while he's reading, he collapses, and it's finally the gamma rays had their final effect on the leader here. And when he comes to, he looks in the mirror, and his entire appearance has changed. His skin has turned green, and his entire head has grown to fit his gigantic brain. And so the leader, his head looks this way for a reason, because of his giant brain. And so the leader is very similar to the Hulk in that he has green skin, but all of his strength is his knowledge. Now, the leader doesn't have any kind of super strength or any of that, but he does have super knowledge. And so this is going to be the first time that the leader discovers who the Hulk is. Now, last issue, in issue number 62, we saw that the leader hired the Chameleon, who is also a Spider-Man villain. And this is also a very early appearance of the Chameleon here. We see here that the Chameleon is still going to be on the search for the Hulk here and trying to take the Hulk down. And he's going to disguise himself later on in this issue and try to figure out more details that he can report to the leader here. And so what's the main thing here? There's going to be a huge train fight. Like the Hulk and this Humanoid are going to fight on this train. But before then, we find that General Thunderbolt Ross tells Major Talbot that Banner is going to go. He needs to go to the Pentagon, and he has his big nuclear invention that he's created, and he wants basically the Pentagon wants Banner to explain how it operates. Now, Major Talbot has been skeptical, very skeptical, very, what's the word I'm trying to say? He's been a skeptic. That's what I'm trying to say. He's been a very big skeptic of, that's a very hard word to say, of Bruce Banner here. And so what we're going to see here is he's going to get on the train ride here, and he's like, look, I have my eyes on you, Bruce, and you're going to stay on the train, okay? Because if you don't, then we know that something's up, that you can't be trusted. Now we see that the leader is going to send his humanoid out, and we see that the leader has control of the humanoid. He just has to think it, and the humanoid does it. And so he's going to be watching from a distance and controlling the humanoid here. And he says that basically the leader wants to get a hold of that nuclear device that Bruce Banner has created. And so we see that the humanoid is going to come on this plane here, and he propels down. They try to shoot at him, but the bullets go right through him. They alert the people on the train that there's this humanoid monstrosity coming. Bruce Banner begins to panic here, but Talbot then puts Banner in this room, shuts the door, saying, "You must stay here." And he slams the door, and because of the excitement and because of him being worried, he's going to then have his heart and his pulse rate begin to beat very rapidly, and he changes into the Hulk here. And we see that the Hulk says he cannot be held captive here, and he can't be detained. And so we see that Hulk realizes that there's the humanoid on this top of this train here, and Hulk is going to tackle this robot here, this humanoid. And the leader now discovers that he has to deal with the threat of the Hulk here. And so really in this issue, this is the first time that the leader is going to fight the Hulk here, and learns more about the Hulk. I mean, this is a very important issue if you're a collector, I have to say. And so definitely if you have the money to buy it, buy this issue, definitely do it, because this is a collector's item. But I'm happy to just review this issue for you as we continue to look more at the life of the Hulk here. We see that the Hulk was hurled away from the humanoid, but the Hulk is still going to make it back to that train. And we see that the leader's like, maybe Hulk is actually a worthy foe after all. And so the Hulk, even though he is the Hulk, he still has a little bit of Bruce Banner's intellect, and he notices that invention of Bruce Banner's is starting to shake here, and it's about to fall off the train. And so the Hulk needs to prevent that from falling off the train. So both the humanoid and the Hulk fall off of the train, and because of the impact of falling on the ground, the leader loses contact of the humanoid. So now the humanoid is lifeless. So now the Hulk is going to jump back on the train. We notice that the nuclear device is going to almost fall off the train when Hulk saves the nuclear device and allows it to not break and explode. But because of the strain, Hulk changes back to Bruce Banner here. And when Major Talbot returns on helicopter, he notices that the nuclear device is intact, but there's someone down below, and he notices it's Bruce Banner. Now remember, Talbot has been very skeptical, a big skeptic of Bruce Banner here. And so what we see here is that he's going to have Bruce Banner locked in jail here. He's been sent to jail here. And now we see also the leader here is going to try his best to learn more about the Hulk and see how he can destroy Hulk. And so that is how we end this issue. What is going to happen up next, folks? How is Bruce Banner going to explain to everybody why he's linked with this nuclear device and why he was not on the train and didn't stay on the train? Does he have to reveal to everybody that he is the Hulk so that they will stop being so, wary of the Hulk and how Hulk and Bruce Banner are somehow linked together? Because that's what Major Talbot thinks, and that's what Major Ross, Thunderbolt Ross, thinks as well. And so that's what we have to worry about. Coming up next, we're going to see how this unfolds. Next issue, in issue number 64. I hope to see you there, folks. And go ahead now, if you have not, go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you will see more epic comic book flashbacks just like this. You get to read through these classic issues as well because it's all in HD content. And as always, folks, do me a favor and keep reading comics.